friends, it's me Alex, the stay-at-home reader. I have the house to myself for a minute, so I want to film this video super quick. Bert from Past Storytime tagged me in the I know what you read last summer tag. Well, I don't know the history of this tag. I will link back to Bert's answers to this tag, and I believe the person who tagged him is linked on his video, and she gives more background information. So this is the I know what you read last summer tag. First question is Final Girl, or prompt. First prompt is Final Girl, a book with a strong female protagonist. And so my knee-jerk answer to this one is Hummingbird Salamander by Jeff Vandermeer. I hated that book. But in like a literal sense, that was a very strong female protagonist, like physically strong. He wrote her as an male author writing first person female main character. Absolute fail. But he made her very large and very strong, and there is a scene where she like literally busts through a wall and like rolls and runs down a cliffside. She gets shot at, like she's just like wrecking into getting hit by cars, and she's like a freaking beast, where it got cartoonish how strong this female character was. So that was like my like literal take on this prompt, but my true answer is, and I forgot her name, oh my gosh, but Victor Laval released a book early this year called Lone Women, and that is full of strong female characters. My window is open. And someone just walked by, and I just got like really self-conscious, even though I'm like within my own home, but like talking to the camera by myself made me really self-conscious. Okay, prompt number 2 is Popcorn, a book that you couldn't put down or stop reading. And for that, my answer is several people are typing. I forgot the author's name, but several people are typing. This was such a fun read. The format itself being like a chat feature made it really quick and easy to read, so it was one of those like, okay, well, let me just keep going, crazier and crazier until it finally like comes to a head, and then you want to see the resolution. So several people are typing. Number 3, Ticket. Name a book that introduced you to your favorite genre. I don't know what my favorite genre is, so I have a couple answers here. Pachinko by Minjin Lee. This was a online book club, a group read, and I was really hesitant, like I didn't think I would like it. And so pleasantly surprised that it was one of my favorite books, whatever year that was that I read it. It was like a million years ago. And that book made me realize I love family sagas. Nowadays, I'm very intimidated by a big hefty book, and family sagas tend to be big old chunksters. But Pachinko was like the aha moment where I was like, I love this multi-generational long look at a family. I think after that, probably the next big chunky long timeline book I read was The Thornbirds. Absolutely love that. Okay, so then I am only recently, the past couple years, realizing that I actually enjoy the horror genre to read, not to watch. So 2 books I read for my real life in-person book club, actually the book that I joined them on, oh my gosh, like 10 years ago, was We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And then a few years later we read White is for Witching. And I remember specifically White is for Witching. During the conversation, I kept saying, I don't like horror, I don't read horror, but the other book we read was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. And I feel like that was the first book that I considered actually being of the horror genre. And I really liked it for that book club. But when we met to discuss White is for Witching, all my talking points started with, I don't like horror, but this reminded me of this haunted house in this book. I don't read horror, but this character reminded me of this character. And someone pointed out, like, sounds like you like horror. Okay. Oh, and then going back to Victor LaValle's book, Lone Women, that was the one that made me realize that, like, I think I like Westerns. And before that, a few years ago, I read The Sisters Brothers. I reread that earlier this year, actually. And thought, you know what? I think I like Westerns. So if you saw some of my earlier videos from this year, you know that that's something I'm trying to explore now, is finding what kind of Westerns do I like. I think I have an answer, but we'll talk about that another time. Outdoor cinema, number 4. Name a book that has the best book to film adaptation. I don't really like a lot of film adaptations, but I would say Stardust by Neil Gaiman has an excellent movie. I know a lot of people prefer the movie to the book, and I wouldn't go that far, but the movie's very good, to the point where I don't even mind the little changes that it did make. And then my other answer is The Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies, and the book was great too. Number 5, the movie, a movie that you are too scared to watch. Like I said, I don't really like watching a lot of horror movies. And so the things that I'm too scared to watch, this is going to sound really weird. Things that deal with artificial intelligence and robotics. So I just saw a trailer for The Creator, and I kind of want to watch it, but I know, like, I get anxious just thinking about it. Like, AI, I don't even want a video camera doorbell. I don't have Hey Google, Yo Alexa, what's up Siri. None of those devices are active in my house. Sorry if I set yours off just now. Tried not to. Yeah, AI, I don't trust it. And probably from my middle school days watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, Hal, like, oh my gosh, open the pod door, Hal, and he didn't open the door. I don't trust technology. So that sort of movie with, like, AI, futuristic kind of human versus robot war, I'm probably not going to watch it. As, like, interesting as I find it, it makes me too anxious. 6, Summer Loving, a book recommendation for the summer. I think of a lot of middle grade books when I think of, like, my favorite summer reads. So that would be the Penderwicks, specifically the Penderwicks at Point Mouette, because that is their summer vacation book in the series. Takes place in New England, real close family. I believe the entire series is a retelling of Little Women, which is actually what that upside down book right there, right there is Little Women. Never read Little Women, but I love the Penderwick series. And in Point Mouette, the family goes, they rent a beach cabin in Massachusetts, and they spend their summer there. Small town vibes, summer adventure. Love that one. Another book, and this is really specific to my family, but Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman is something that when the kids were little, I got from the library and read to them, and then it became something that every summer we would check out Fortunately the Milk, read it out loud. One year we, like, went on a hike and just read it outdoors. It's super short, super ridiculous, about a woman goes away for work and she leaves her husband and her kids at home, and she tells her husband, don't forget to go buy milk in the morning. And so the morning comes, he's sitting at the table reading his newspaper, he has not gone out to buy the milk, the kids are complaining, he's telling them, so like, put orange juice in your cereal, and then the kids remind him he needs milk for his tea, so that gets him up and out the door to go buy the milk, but I guess it takes him a long time. Yeah, and then when he finally gets home, the kids are like, what the heck happened? And he goes off into this whole story about like being abducted by aliens, ending up in a hot air balloon with a time-traveling stegosaurus, and then almost being sacrificed by a ancient tribe in a volcano, and it just is absolutely bonkers, and it brings him back into his moment, and everything is like, fortunately the milk was in my pocket, fortunately the milk, blah 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 blah. So that is a very specific summer read for my family. Also Jaws, I read that last summer, became my entire personality for the summer of 2022. Highly recommend. You would think it would just be beach trash, but it was actually very, very good, especially putting a post-pandemic like bottom line capitalism over what's best for the general public kind of spin on the story. Moving on. Scythe Assassin, a villain you would love to interview. This was a hard one to answer, but two books that I read that I feel like had a very similar main character, In a Lonely Place and The Talented Mr. Ripley. So the two main characters from those books are sociopaths, and I feel like if I was going to interview a villain, and these are like anti-heroes, like they're the main character and they're also the villain, they're the ones that I would love to be like at a police station as a psychologist, trying to like break down their motivations and like know that everything they say would be complete bullshit. Yeah, I would love to get those two in an interrogation room. Group of friends, a book with the worst friend group. I'm just gonna say it, and I know no one's gonna agree with me, but A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Worst friend group. I have my reasons. Nope. That one I'm mad that I actually finished. Number 9, End of Course, Your Last DNF. And this might just be a format thing because I absolutely hated the narrator of the audiobook. Brutes. Number 10, Summer Party, a book with the worst party in it. I couldn't really think of one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mention the book that inspired my last vlog, The Midcoast. The book opens, the prologue is at a party and the police show up. It's like a lobster bake kind of, or lobster broil, whatever New Englanders do. And the police show up, and then at the end of the book, you know what the police are doing there, and I just imagine that would be a terrible, terrible way to end a party. Number 11, We Have a Secret, character that talks too much. Again, The Midcoast, there's a son character in that book who just kind of gives off like bumbling idiot energy, like kind of dumb puppy energy, and he just says things and then tries to walk them back because he realizes like, oop, I shouldn't have said that. I feel like that's a quote from a movie. And this isn't a character, because this was a nonfiction book. Furiously Happy. Don't remember who wrote that. Again, see here. And so she's not a character. This is her. This is her story about how she chooses to deal with her depression, and I absolutely hated this book, was not, her approach to mental health did not meet my approach to mental health, did not take her manic sort of chaos energy well. And so in my opinion, she talks too much, just because it was constant craziness. And I listened to the audiobook, so she narrates it herself, so the energy, our energies just don't match. So Cabin in the Woods, number 12, the best setting for a book. I guess lately, I love New England. I love beach settings, either island or like coastal New England sort of beach settings. I like small towns. I like countryside. I kind of like quiet sort of isolation, where like almost like little micro societies, like you know how somebody's gonna act based on like how this community functions. So I like small towns settings over like city settings. I don't know. And then finally, Friday the 13th, a book that traumatized you. Not even a horror book. This is a historical fiction book. An Unseemly Wife. Absolutely traumatized me, only because by the time it ends, this woman, spoiler alert, has lost her entire family. It follows an Amish family who decides to break with tradition and join a wagon train headed west in order to claim land for their growing family. And if you've played the Oregon Trail, you know how this goes. Traumatizing to the point where like I stayed up late one night to finish it, just to get it over with, and went to sleep. Woke up early the next morning, like as Nate was leaving for work. I handed him the book and was like, get this out of my house, drop it off at Goodwill, stick it in a trash bin. I want this book out of my house. I don't know if that was an overreaction, but that was like an in the moment, like I cannot deal with the heartbreak that is this woman losing everybody. So this must have been years ago. My kids must have been younger. The hormones, the emotions, I could not deal with the amount of loss that this wife and mother endured. So I almost want to reread it now. But yeah, that book traumatized me. The next prompt would be to tag creators. I'm not going to do that, but check out Bert's video. Check out the person who tagged Bert. Oh my gosh, I don't remember their name. That's all I got. This was supposed to be quick and it went way too long. Okay, I'm going to cut this up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.